Bus A330 carrying 288 passengers suffered a catastrophic engine failure seconds after rotation. A massive explosion was seen lighting up the night sky, showering the runway in incandescent metal fragments that ignited a brush fire in the surrounding grass. Despite the mid-air inferno, the pilots successfully executed an emergency landing just 10 minutes after departure. Airport firefighters quickly extinguished the ground-level blaze while the aircraft was met by emergency services on the tarmac. Delta Airlines confirmed all passengers were safely rebooked, attributing the incident to a mechanical problem. Brazil's Aeronautical Accident Center CINEPA has launched a formal investigation in the 20-year-old aircraft's engine failure, a process expected to take several months. No injuries were reported in what witnesses described as a nightmare over Sao Paulo. This has been Virgil Parba, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Bangladesh is battling a deadly missiles outbreak that has claimed the lives of at least 38 children this year, with hospitals overwhelmed and health officials now revealing the country has not yet administered measles vaccines in 8 years. Faith Agustin has the story.
Packed pediatric wards at Dhaka's Children's Hospital tell the story. Children lying on shared beds or cradled in their parents' arms, many fighting complications from the highly contagious virus. For parents, the wait has been agonizing.
আমার বাচ্চার হচ্ছে 8 দিন ধরে অবস্থা 8 দিন ধরে জ্বর আর হচ্ছে এখন ওর জ্বরটা আজকে থেকে একটু কমছে কিন্তু ওর পেটে সমস্যা আছে যেমন ডায়রিয়ার মতো হইছে এরপরে জ্বর ঠান্ডা কাশি শ্বাসকষ্ট এরপরে মুখে ঘা হইছে মুখে ঘাটা এখন আগের থেকে কম এখন চোখও একটু হালকা লালচে চোখের জন্য ড্রপ দিছে
এই জায়গা আজকে 3 দিন যাবত আছি এখন আলহামদুলিল্লাহ একটু সুস্থ দিকে আছে প্রথম একটু খারাপ ছিল এখন ভালো
Doctors say the virus is spreading rapidly through the wards, transmitted through the coughs and sneezes of infected patients in already overcrowded facilities.
হচ্ছে এই মিজেলস ভাইরাসে আক্রান্ত যে কোনো রোগীর যে রেসপিরেটরি সিক্রেশন যেটা হাঁচির মাধ্যমে কাশির মাধ্যমে যেটা ছড়ায় এটার মাধ্যমে এক রোগী থেকে আরেক রোগীতে যেতে পারে এই কারণে দেখা যায় সাধারণত আক্রান্ত ব্যক্তির 7 থেকে 10 দিনের মধ্যে হয়তো এই ধরনের কোনো রোগীর সাথে ওনারা ক্লোজ কন্ট্যাক্টে এসেছিলেন এরকম একটা হিস্ট্রি থাকতে পারে
Hospital authorities say many of those admitted are under 9 months old. A critical shortage of ICU and pediatric intensive care beds has left some of the sickest children waiting for treatment. Health Minister Sardar Mohd Sakawat Hussain delivered a stark admission, saying no measles vaccinations have been administered in the country for the past 8 years, pointing to serious and sustained failures in the national immunization program. With more than 600 cases now confirmed, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has ordered an urgent nationwide review, directing 2 senior ministers to travel across the country of 170 million people to assess the scale of the crisis and coordinate the government's response. This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
A plastic and tarp manufacturing facility in Bogor Regency, Indonesia has been reduced to a charred ruin after a massive fire broke out Sunday afternoon, with early reports pointing to a lightning strike as the cause. Carla Abellana for these details.
A powerful blaze erupted at a factory in the Wanaherang area of Gunung Putri, Indonesia, a facility that stored a large quantity of highly flammable materials, including chemicals, plastics, and papers. This drone footage captured in the aftermath show thick smoke still hanging over the collapsed blackened structure. For those nearby, the first sign something was wrong was a sound like a lightning strike, followed almost immediately by smoke and a wall of flames that grew far beyond what anyone expected. Witnesses said the fire spread so fast that people had no time to react, with residents rushing out in a panic as the blaze overtook the building. The Bogor Regency Fire and Rescue Service deployed 10 fire engines and around 50 personnel backed by volunteers, military units, and police. It took crews roughly 7 hours to bring the main fire under control, with containment and cooling operations continuing into Monday as teams worked to extinguish the lingering hot spots. An official investigation is still pending, but early reports suggest the fire was triggered by a lightning strike amid heavy rainfall. For God and my beloved Philippines, Carla Abellana, SMNI News.
A unique racing event in Japan is drawing attention both locally and internationally, as participants compete using office chairs in a test of speed, stamina, and teamwork. Daniela Politi tells us more.
The event, known as the Isuwan Grand Prix, was originally created to help revitalize a shopping district in Kyoto. Organizers say it has since gained popularity overseas, attracting global media coverage.
商店街の地域の活性化というのが大きな目的になってますけども、もう今では海外メディア、海外の方々にもご注目いただいているのは、やっぱり誰でもが参加できる、で熱くなれる、
The competition is designed to foster community pride with participants of all ages, including children, encouraged to take part.
人々それぞれがですね、みんなが自慢と誇りを持って地域を愛し、そして子どもたちに一生懸命頑張っていただける、そんな大会になってます。
Racers are pushed to their physical limits as they navigate the course, relying on endurance and strategy.
今1時間20分経過して足はパンパン。もう心拍マックス。でも超楽しい。イスワン最高。
我慢することが大事なんで、とにかく我慢で差が開いてても我慢して最後に抜かすっていう。
Beyond competition, many say the event is about enjoyment and shared experience.
最高に天気が良くてめちゃくちゃ楽しいです。僕たち勝つことをもちろんね目標にはしてるんですけれども、もう他の、みんな以上に一番楽しむこと、これがまず第一番だと思いますのでね、頑張っていきます。よろしくお願いします。
With its mix of creativity, community spirit, and friendly competition, the Isuwan Grand Prix continues to capture attention as one of Japan's most unusual sporting events. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
Up next, a senior Taiwanese opposition leader is calling for renewed dialogue and stability across the Taiwan Strait, rejecting independence as the path forward. The statement coming from the Kuomintang Party chair following an official visit to mainland China. And the United Nations is warning that the targeting of peacekeepers may constitute warning crimes after 3 Indonesian UNIFIL personnel were killed in southern Lebanon over the last 48 hours. The IDF says it is probing the fatal explosions. The international community is watching and demanding answers. More news when Newsline World returns.
Pagod? Nanunuyo ang lalamunan? O baka naman nahihirapan kang mag-focus sa ginagawa? Kapartner, baka naman dehydrated ka na. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng halos 60% hanggang 70% na tubig. Kung walang sapat na hydration, parang sasakyang walang gasolina ang ating katawan, hindi makakaarangkada. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang tamang hydration? Hindi lamang ito pamatid uhaw dahil nakatutulong rin ito sa pagdaloy ng sustansya sa katawan, pagpapanatili ng tamang body temperature, at pagpapakinis ng kutis. Kaya't huwag nang hintayin pang mauhaw ka bago uminom. Ang pagkauhaw ay babala na ng iyong katawan na ikaw ay dehydrated na. Ang standard na payo ng mga doktor ay 8 baso ng tubig ang dapat inumin bawat araw. Pero tandaan, depende ito sa iyong timbang, edad at kung gaano ka ka-active. Samantala, narito ang ilang gabay para manatiling hydrated. Simula ng araw sa isang basong tubig. Magbaon ng sariling tumbler para siguradong may maiinom saan man magpunta. At hanggat maaari, piliin ang tubig kaysa mga matatamis na inumin. Kaya mga kapartner, manatiling hydrated para makaiwas sa mas malalang sakit at upang maalagaan ang iyong kalusugan.
and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
And we're back. A senior Taiwanese opposition leader has called for renewed dialogue and stability across the Taiwan Strait following an official visit to mainland China. This report.
Cheng Li-won, chairwoman of the Kuomintang, expressed gratitude for the invitation from China's leadership, including Xi Jinping, saying she had gladly accepted the opportunity to visit. Cheng described the trip as a first step towards strengthening cross-strait peace and stability.
因此，今天立文希望为两岸的和平稳定跨出成功的第一步，跟各位报告。
She reiterated her party stance opposing Taiwan's independence and supporting the so-called 1992 consensus, which she said is key to avoiding conflict.
那就是反对台独，坚持九二共识。因为反对台独，所以我们可以避免战争；因为九二共识，我们可以缔造和平。
Cheng added that such a framework could demonstrate that war between Taiwan and mainland China is not inevitable. She also noted that much of the international community adheres to a one China policy and does not support Taiwan independence.
甚至于全世界都是奉行着一中政策跟不支持台独的共同共识。
Cheng further expressed willingness to engage in dialogue with Taiwan's current leader, Lei Ching-te, in an effort to ease internal divisions. Her remarks come amid ongoing tensions across the Taiwan Strait, as calls draw for dialogue to prevent further escalation.
A 15-year-old student has killed a classmate and injured 8 others during a devastating shooting at the Mariana Moreno School in Argentina. This report from Paul Montibon.
Chaos and terror gripped the Santa Fe province after a student allegedly smuggled a shotgun into school hidden inside a guitar bag. Witnesses describe a cold-blooded attack that began in a school bathroom where 13-year-old Ian Cabrera was shot twice, reportedly in the back and the neck. Footage from the aftermath shows a heavy police presence cordoning off the campus as hysterical students sought refuge in a nearby plaza. According to witnesses, the gunman emerged from the bathroom shouting surprise before continuing to fire. The rampage only ended when a school janitor heroically tackled and disarmed the teenager from behind.
Y cuando sonó el timbre con mis compañeras formamos, pero se escuchó un ruido lo que pensamos que era que se había caído un cartel, porque se había escuchado muy al fondo. Y los compañeros que salían desde adentro de la escuela salían caminando normal. Al segundo ruido todos empiezan a correr y no se entendía nada.
While the suspect is now in custody, fellow students claim he had previously made threats that were ignored. Santa Fe Education Minister Jose Goite stated that while the attacker had no prior disciplinary record, he was reportedly struggling with a very complex family situation. Of the 8 others injured, 2 were hit by pellets, while 6 sustained injuries during the frantic evacuation. The municipality has declared an official day of mourning and suspended all classes as the community demands justice for Ian.
Él entró por la parte de atrás con la escopeta en un estuche de guitarra y estaba en el baño justo donde estaba el fallecido, y se ve que él fue y se ve que le disparó por nada. Supuestamente el primer disparo fue en la espalda y después para rematarlo como en el cuello. Y cuando salió dijo sorpresa y empezó a tirar otro disparo y empezaron todos los que estaban arriba, porque había gente que estaba arriba grabando, empezaron a correr asustados diciendo corran, váyanse, hay alguien con un arma. Y bueno, ahí fue cuando todos empezaron a correr.
The shooting has reignited a fierce debate across Argentina regarding school security and the recent ban on student cell phones, which many parents argue hindered communication during the life-threatening emergency. For Gada, my country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montibon, S7i News.
The United Nations has warned that the targeting of peacekeepers may constitute war crimes following the deaths of 3 Indonesian UNIFIL personnel in southern Lebanon over the last 48 hours. The details from Loren Santos.
A grim atmosphere hung over the UN headquarters in New York as spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric confirmed a rapid escalation of violence against UNIFIL personnel. Within just 2 days, 3 Indonesian peacekeepers have been killed. Cadet Farizal Rambi died Sunday in Taib, followed by 2 more personnel on Monday morning when an explosion struck a logistics convoy near Bani Hayan. The UN described a pattern of aggressive behavior and intimidation by the IDF, including an incident where a Merkava tank reportedly fired a shell that exploded just 15 meters from a UN vehicle.
Attacks on peacekeepers, as we've been saying quite a bit, is a grave violation of international humanitarian law and of Security Council Resolution 1701 and may amount to war crimes. There will need to be accountability. As you know, UNIFIL peacekeepers have been the subject of aggressive behavior, intimidation, and threats, and this must stop immediately.
The IDF has stated it is reviewing the incidents, noting that its forces were operating nearby against Hezbollah targets. However, UN Under-Secretary General Jean-Pierre Lacroix warned that the current military movement suggests a shift toward the creation of an expanded buffer zone, leaving a string of devastated and empty villages along the border. Despite the extremely challenging conditions and the loss of life, the UN maintained that its mandate remains unchanged and that peacekeepers have a duty to stay to facilitate an eventual political solution.
2 Indonesian peacekeepers lost their lives in an explosion that hit a UNIFIL logistic convoy, destroying their vehicle near Bani Hayan, Sector East. We strongly condemn these unacceptable incidents, and peacekeepers must never be a target.
As the death toll in Lebanon surpasses 1,000, the targeting of those wearing the blue helmet marks a dangerous new threshold in the conflict between Israel, Hezbollah, and their regional backers. For the Indonesian government and the families of the fallen, the demand for accountability is now a matter of international law. This has been Loren Santos, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
When we come back in sports, Kaya Ota delivered a historic performance at the ACC Track Cycling Championships, setting a new Asian record in the men's sprint to claim the gold medal, a landmark night for Asian trackling cycling. And in showbiz, production on the upcoming Tomb Raider series has been temporarily halted after its lead star suffered an injury. Stella Maris has the latest updates on what this means for the highly anticipated project. More news after the break.
Every day begins with a choice: to stay down or to rise and chase the dream. For athletes, success is not built overnight. It is shaped in silence long before the crowd arrives.
When you become an athlete in any sport events like boxing, any kind of gymnastics or any kind of triathlon, ganon. You are a runner, you are a marathoner, you are a boxer, you are an Olympic athlete. There's a lot of restrictions compared to a regular person who is not involved in any kind of sports.
Restrictions are not punishment. They are preparation.
For the athlete, it's nothing. It's their lifestyle. For the regular jando outside looking at you, parang naawa sila eh. Yung pagkain mo, puro healthy. It needs a lot of discipline for an athlete in a competition.
The same is true in the spiritual life. The way is not wide. It is not easy. It is narrow.
So, Jesus Christ also mentioned that in a very vivid statement when he said, the way to life is very narrow and very strict and very small.
89 kilograms, please. What the world calls restriction, the faithful call obedience.
For us, there is no restrictions. That is so restricted enough that we cannot do it. And when it becomes our lifestyle, it's nothing. It's regular for us. Regular for us to be clean-minded, regular for us to be orderly, regular for us to be straightforward. Obedience, commitment, loyalty, dedication, repented in the sight of the Father.
Because this life is a race.
Are we in this life in a competition? Yes, very much. Because Paul said that also. They that run in a race run all, but one receives the prize.
Not everyone who runs wins. Only those who endure.
In order for you to be in a race, you have to be disciplined. So the kingdom nation's citizenship is a disciplined citizenship.
Run the race. Choose the narrow way. Live the disciplined life. Because the prize is eternal.
And we're back. The Davao City government is making a move toward cleaner and more cost-efficient transport, beginning the procurement of electric vehicles for its official fleet as fuel prices continue to climb. MJ Mondiha reports.
The Davao City government is taking a major step toward a more sustainable transportation system. The city has started procuring electric vehicles or EVs for its official fleet. This aims to gradually reduce reliance on diesel and gasoline-powered vehicles. According to Harvey Lantixe, acting head of the Davao City Information Office, the plan began in 2025 following the directive of Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte. He said this is part of the city's sustainability initiatives. The city is targeting 54 vehicles in total, with units expected to arrive in batches starting this year. The procurement process is already underway, and the units are expected to arrive in batches starting this year. Lantixe added that the city will prioritize the purchase of EVs over diesel-powered unit in future procurements. The initiative aligns with Republic Act No. 11697 or the Electric Vehicle Industry Act, which requires at least 5% of the fleet of government and private organizations must consist of electric vehicles. The initiative is expected to help lessen the impact of rising fuel prices. It will also reduce carbon emissions and make local government operations more environment-friendly. Overall, the city government expects Davao to serve as a model for cleaner and more modern transportation in the country. The move is also timely amid the ongoing oil crisis caused by tensions in the Middle East. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondejar, SMNI News.
In sports update, Kaya Ota set a new Asian record in the men's sprint before claiming the gold medal at the ACC Track Cycling Championships. Meanwhile, in the NBA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Oklahoma City Thunder to another victory, while the Boston Celtics secured a playoff berth. Carlo De La Peña reports.
Competing at the Tagaytay City Velodrome, Japanese cyclist Kaya Ota clocked 9.348 seconds in a qualifying round to break the previous Asian record in the men's sprint. The time surpassed the earlier mark of 9.350 seconds, which Ota himself recorded during the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. The two-time Asian Games gold medalist later secured a championship title after defeating China's Li Jiwei in the final round. Meanwhile, fellow Japanese riders Iya Hashimoto and Kazushiki Kuboki also captured the gold medal in the men's Madison event with 104 points. Kazakhstan's Ilya Karabutov and Ramis Dinmukametov finished second with 82 points, while Hong Kong's Chu Wai-Chu and Kai Kwong-Cho took bronze with 65 points. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City Thunder continued their strong run this season with a 111-100 victory over the New York Knicks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 30 points in the win, extending his NBA record streak of games with at least 20 points to 135. Teammate Jalen Williams added 22 points, while Isaiah Hartenstein grabbed 13 rebounds. Despite a 32-point performance from Jalen Brunson, the Knicks fell short and missed the chance to clinch a playoff spot. Meanwhile, Jason Tatum finished with 32 points, 8 assists and 5 rebounds to lead the Boston Celtics to a 114-99 win over the Charlotte Hornets, officially securing their place in the postseason. Peyton Pritchard contributed 28 points for Boston, which moved closer to the top spot in the Eastern Conference standings. In other games, the Los Angeles Clippers extended their winning streak to 5 after defeating the Milwaukee Bucks, while the Houston Rockets cruised to a victory over the New Orleans Pelicans behind a strong performance from Alperen Şengün. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña, bringing you the latest sports news.
Thai superstar Lalisa Manoban, better known as Lisa of Blackpink, is said to make history as the first K-pop artist to headline a Las Vegas residency. Meanwhile, production on the upcoming Tomb Raider series has been temporarily halted after its lead star suffered an injury. Selma Reese for the updates.
Caesars Palace has confirmed that Lisa will take over its stage this November, marking a major milestone for K-pop on the global stage. The residency, titled Viva La Lisa, will be held at the Coliseum, one of the venue's most iconic performance spaces. Lisa is scheduled to perform on November 13 and 14, as well as November 27 and 28, drawing fans from around the world. The announcement further cements Lisa's status as a global pop icon as K-pop continues to expand its influence in major entertainment hubs like Las Vegas. Actress Sophie Turner, who is set to portray iconic adventurer Lara Croft, was reportedly injured although it remains unclear whether the incident occurred during filming. Turner had previously spoken about the intense physical demands of preparing for the role, highlighting the rigorous training required for the action-packed series. The project, which is highly anticipated by fans of the franchise, is currently expected to be released in 2027. No further details have been released regarding the extent of the injury or when production is expected to resume. This has been Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, bringing you the latest showbuzz.
Up next, the palace is assuring the public that the Philippines' energy supply remains stable as over 1.04 billion barrels of diesel, including Russian oil, arrive in the country. The government is also rolling out a sweeping set of relief and conservation measures to cushion the impact of the ongoing oil crisis. And a legal battle is brewing over Vice President Sara Duterte's bank records as the House Committee on Justice asserts the power to compel their release. A banking expert is pushing back, saying the move has no legal basis without a formal impeachment trial. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod. Pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakakadepress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
And we're back as the House Committee on Justice asserts the power to compel the release of Vice President Sara Duterte's bank records. A banking expert is pushing back, saying the move has no legal basis without a formal impeachment trial. Kai Villan reports.
The House Committee on Justice under Chairperson Jervy Luistro has claimed it holds the power of compulsory process, asserting it can demand the release of the Vice President's bank records, his statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALN, and other related documents as part of its so-called mini-trial. In the podcast Talakayan ng Taong Bayan, Marvy Valeros, manager of a Universal and Commercial Savings Bank, said the committee is getting ahead of itself, arguing that the impeachment process has not yet reached the stage where such disclosures are legally justified. This includes the accounts of the Vice President's husband, Attorney Mans Carpio. According to her, the impeachment process is still only in the deliberation stage and there is no formal impeachment trial yet.
At this stage kasi of the impeachment, if I'm not mistaken, we're only on deliberating the impeachment, no? So wala pa tayo dun sa proper impeachment trial. So without the proper impeachment trial, there's no reason to disclose the bank account. So hindi pa siya, wala pang impeachment court na na-form.
Because of this, she said there is still no sufficient legal basis to release the bank records of any individual linked to the case. If bank accounts are forced open at this stage, she said it would be considered a fishing expedition, meaning a search for possible evidence without a clear legal basis. Valeros also explained that if the House Committee on Justice orders a bank through subpoena to release records without sufficient legal basis, the bank officer who complies could face criminal liability for violating the bank secrecy law.
If the House Committee on Justice gives you a subpoena, you as a bank manager, will
Without
that...
the impeachment.
Without the just the House.
Yes, the bank officer will be criminally liable under the law.
Meanwhile, economist Cora Guidote said arbitrarily opening the bank accounts of depositors could have a major impact on the economy. According to her, the public may lose trust in banking institutions in the Philippines. If this happens, it could trigger a bank run where all depositors simultaneously withdraw their money out of fear.
What is the impact to the economy if we start shaking the banks?
Siyempre, mawawala yung tiwala sa mga bangko. Diba? Pwede kang magka-bank run. Kasi siyempre, kunwari, ikaw yung bangko sa Bank ABC, nag-reveal ka, yung mga depositors mo maglalabas ng pera. Kasi wala silang tiwala. Baka mabigay nila yung details ko to anyone.
Guidote added that bank secrecy is based on the absolute confidentiality of bank deposits and can only be opened with a strong and clear legal basis. She also warned that if trust in the banking system is broken, it could lead to systemic risk.
Kasi pag nawala yung tiwala sa mga bangko, magkaka-systemic risk ka. Daming issue. So economic, financial, banking, and then security. All facets of government and governance right now is affected.
By just the impeachment of the Vice President
and the Middle East
crisis.
Amid issues such as the impeachment of the Vice President and the crisis facing the country, Guidote said it is important to maintain economic stability, including the banking system and investor confidence in the Philippines. Reporting for Newsline World, Kai Villan, SMNA News.
The palace is assuring the public that the Philippines' energy supply remains stable. As over 1 million barrels of diesel arrive and the government rolls out a sweeping set of relief and conservation measures to cushion the impact of the oil crisis. Carlo de la Peña for the details.
Executive Secretary Ralph Recto confirmed the arrival of oil supply from Russia and a firm order of more than 1 million barrels of diesel, secured through what he described as the oil diplomacy of Energy Secretary Sharon Garin. Indonesia has also provided a guarantee of steady coal supply, while new gas wells in Malampay are expected to begin operations before the end of the year. To directly ease the burden on commuters and food producers, the Philippine government is rolling out a fuel discount program for more than 250,000 public transport drivers, alongside assistance for farmers and fisherfolk to prevent fuel price spikes from triggering food inflation. A nationwide energy conservation program is also underway.
with more than 1,000 government offices already subjected to spot checks on air conditioning, lighting, and equipment use. Government vehicles have also been placed on what Recto called a strict gas diet, with exemptions only for public safety and health services. The palace also commended businesses that have held off on price increases as an act of solidarity. Cities like Manila and Quezon also launched free rides for residents. Recto stressed by framing the collective response as an expression of the Filipino spirit of bayanihan, calling on the nation to face the crisis together. Reporting for Newsline World has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
The outpouring of support for former President Rodrigo Duterte on his 81st birthday is crossing borders, with Japanese nationals joining hundreds of Filipinos in Tokyo to celebrate the detained former leader. Guy Saito reports from Tokyo.
Not only Filipinos showed support for former President Rodrigo Duterte, some Japanese nationals here in Tokyo also sent their greetings and messages of support for his birthday. Hundreds of Filipinos gathered in Tokyo to celebrate the 81st birthday of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. The event featured a simple program, shared meals, and tributes to his accomplishments. The Filipino community also conducted a unity march to call for justice for the former president. But the gathering drew more than just Filipinos. Japanese nationals also turned up to express their messages of support and admiration for the former Philippine president. Among them is university student Yawara Otose.
I feel very impressed with many Philippine people love Duterte, and Duterte, I feel Duterte sound is very justice and kind. So many people love him. He wants to make Japan and Philippines make friends with. I want to support Duterte, former president, and I want to learn about him.
According to Yawara, he sees the strong support of Filipinos for Duterte and stressed that the ties between Japan and the Philippines is important. Another Japanese attendee said he hopes to one day see Duterte in person.
すごく楽しい場にご招待いただいて本当にありがとうございます。早くお父さんに出てきてもらって楽しいライフを過ごしていただきたいなと思います。はい。お体健康でいてほしいです。ずっとはい以上です。はいありがとうございました。
Aside from ordinary citizens, international advocates also expressed their support. Among them is human rights advocate Shunichi Fujiki of the United Nations Human Rights Council. According to him, the situation faced by Duterte is unjust.
We demand your immediate and unconditional release. What has been done to you is not justice. It's a punishment for a man who dared to protect his nation.
At present, Duterte is facing charges of crimes against humanity before the International Criminal Court, or ICC. His legal battle continues in The Hague, Netherlands. He has requested interim release, but his request has already been denied 3 times. Despite this, support continues to come from various sectors, including some foreign nationals.
On your 81st birthday, we celebrate the life of the true hero, a leader who loved his country more than his own comfort, a father who gives everything for his children.
According to attendees, nationality is not a barrier in expressing support for a leader they admire. The Japanese nationals said they understand the perspective of Filipinos through their interaction with the Filipino community. They added that the voices of overseas Filipino workers serve as proof of the impact of Duterte's leadership.
Tatay Digong, we stand you all our warmth, all our prayers, and all our strengths. May this day bring you inner peace in your mind, that certain knowledge that your sacrifice was never in vain. And finally, to Tatay Digong himself, may this heartfelt message of love, gratitude, and unbreakable hope somehow reach you in your prison cell today.
Happy birthday, Duterte, former president. I want you to again in front of us. Maybe next Sara Duterte, maybe Philippine president. I want Japan and Philippines more make progress.
Overall, the celebration showed that not only Filipinos continue to value the former president, foreign nationals also expressed their support and admiration. Amid the case he is facing, support for Duterte remains strong from different parts of the world. Despite the distance and differences in culture, support has emerged in Tokyo not only from Filipinos but also from some Japanese nationals for former President Rodrigo Duterte. This shows that the influence of a leader can go beyond the boundaries of his own country. Reporting from Tokyo, this has been Guy Saito, SMNI News, Japan.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the song. Discipline and sacrifice are the ingredients to success. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God in my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Prince Tripoli. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.